Hi, my name is Teacher Red and I have been teaching for 13 years. Aside from ESL and Business English, I have been teaching TOEIC, TOEFL, IELTS, and SAT. I am looking forward to seeing you all in one of our programs. See you soon!
Part 2. Okay, this is actually a sample for part 2. Usually in speaking part 2, you will be getting like 3 or 1, uh, 5, 4, 3 to 5 questions in each task. In the task that you will be having, you are required to answer, or not really to answer the questions like accordingly to how was it written. So you can devise your answer like in any way you wanted to. The thing is, make sure that you answer all of them. Now, in part 2, you are usually given like 1 minute preparation and 2 minutes response for this. What does it mean by that? You are required to talk for 2 minutes after 1 minute preparation. So, if in any case, I think the question is quite easy, isn't it?
I don't know.
Okay, describe a recent goal you set for yourself or you set yourself. Have to include what was the goal, why do you want it, or why do you want that goal, and what you did to achieve that goal, and explain how you felt after accomplishing the goal. Okay, so that is actually
Hmm.
one example of task. I will try, or I will give you uh, time, or do you need time to prepare for this? You're expected to speak at least 2 minutes.
Hmm. Give me. I'll take some time.
Okay. Usually in the real test, there is a timer on the table, so you can also check the time. In this particular activity, after you're prepared, I will show you the, how do we call this? Before the time ends, I will show it to you. Okay?
Hmm.
Ready now?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so your 2 minutes for that specific question starts now. You may begin.
Okay, the recent goal that I've set for myself was probably during my exam. To be honest, I was trying to get a good score, which means I have to stop all the other leisure activity that I was doing before. Which means I have focused entirely solely on studying. It was kind of tiring at first, but as time passes by, I can feel myself getting more and more focused on the subject that I was taking. I wanted this to because I want to get a good score so I can enter a university. And honestly, I feel that the effort that I put out for studying, it pays out. I got quite a good score if I was the same so myself. And hmm, But despite having a good score, but my English not good enough. Uh so I have to take IELTS right now. Ah, hmm. Sorry, I can't think of much anymore.
Okay, so in reality, 2 minutes is really short, right? But when
Yeah.
you will be taking the test, it really looks very, no, it feels like it's too long. Okay, so most of the time, especially for like you, that you are a fast speaker, there is a very, very big possibility that you have to think much and you have to say much compared to not so fast speakers where they could actually take their time explaining things. Therefore, this strategy, like if you will be studying in IELTS, they will be or we will be teaching you on how to expand your answers, how you will manage your time, how will you make sure that you beat the time. Those are the things that we will be doing, especially when it comes to part two. Do not worry when you enroll your classes or when you will be studying, teachers will be ready to assist you on what are the easiest or most suitable strategies that you can do to beat this one. Because if you will be trying to look to be very very honest, I will be using your expression. To be very honest, the questions, especially in IELTS speaking, are daily conversational questions that are usually answered using just vocabularies and just phrases. Unfortunately, in IELTS, you have to expand them. Get it? Now, so that is actually an example of your part two. Now, on part three, okay, on part three is what we call it the discussion part. In the discussion part, it is usually related to part two. Okay,
Hmm.
so questions in part three are related into part two. Unlike in part one, you usually receive at least 2 to 3 topics. Okay, 4 to 5 minutes, 2 to 3 topics. You expect at least 8 to 12 questions in part one. In part two, you expect only one question for that. So, for example, in part one, you will be expecting at least names, hometowns, or let's say food. In part two, you have seen it. It will be the same as that. In part three, it's just a matter of like having a discussion which is related to part two. Now, I will give you a chance to give me a response to that. Should parents help their children set goals? If you will be the one is going to or who is going to answer this, how will you do it?
Hmm. Can I
How
answer
will you
now?
answer it?
Oh, okay. Now answer it by yes and no. To be honest, I have there's two side of things. Like first is if their children can't like make goals for themselves, then yes, parents should help. But if the children already have the goals, but the parents still want to force them into doing something they don't want, it's kind of double-edged sword, to be honest.
Okay, what makes it actually a double-edged sword?
I mean, first, if the child don't have a goal, then parents help. But if the parents help, the child won't like how do I say have a like self self thinking. I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
Mm. But if the child already have a goal, and if the parent force them to take another goal which the parent wants, which means they can't let their child have dreams per se.
Okay. Okay. I hope no parent will do that probably. I really hope. I really do. But again, it's a matter of, just telling your opinion, giving examples, and okay. I kind of reflected because of your answer. Okay. So that is very understandable. So if you will try to let's go back actually with part two question. The
Mm,
question in part two is all about setting your goals. Your answer with this was like talking about the activities that you had. You focus on the exam that you had. You were able to get an answer. If you will try to look at part three again, it is related to that. So expect, if in any case the longer you answer in part three, the less question you get, the better.
mm,
Okay. Unlike in part one, that the more questions you get, the better. But in part three, the less questions you get, the better. The reason for that is your ability to explain things and the ability to be spontaneous in using the English language is very much important in part three. So you have to link ideas, give examples, give reasons. Okay, most of the time, if the examiner in part 3 does not stop you, just put and continue and add information to what you were saying. That is actually one of the strategies in part 3, though you will be experiencing that in, how do we call this, when you will be having real classes. Get it?
Mm.
Okay, so any questions when it comes to speaking?
Mm. No, nothing. I don't think.
Okay, so that is just like summary of how do we call this? How it happens. Common examples that you will be experiencing in speaking. I believe that with your ability right now, the understandability and your way of speaking, you will be able to get, a good score in speaking. You just need to manage how to prolong your answers, I think, because you are a fast speaker. Now,
Mm.
let's try to have this. Okay. Can you see that one?
Yep.
This is actually an example of IELTS listening. Okay, it part 1. In IELTS listening, you will be having 4 parts. Part 1, 2, 3, and 4. Part 1 is the easiest, part 4 is the most difficult. So as it progresses in different parts, it will become harder and harder. Okay, so that is the arrangement of listening. I will be trying, or do you have your notepad, right?
Yep. I have it right now.
Okay. I will be trying to play an audio file. Uh, the guide questions are actually on your monitor. I would like you to answer as much as you could. I will be playing the audio file only once, the same as your real test. Ready now?
Mm.
Okay, let me just go ahead and pull your audio file. Is it?
You will hear a woman
Can you
calling an
hear that?
insurance
Mm. Yeah, I
Okay.
heard that.
company to report an accident. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 7. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 7.
Rawlings Insurance. Good morning, can I help you?
Oh, hello. I'm ringing to report an accident.
A car accident?
Yes.
Just hold the line a moment, please. I'm putting you through to our motor insurance department.
Hello?
Hello?
I understand you want to report an accident.
Yes. My car's been damaged. Someone came out in front of me.
Could I just check a few personal details before we go any further?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Your name, first of all.
It's Elizabeth Rickard.
Is that Rikard?
It's spelt with a C, not a K.
Oh, okay. And your date of birth, please.
It's the 8th of October, 1975.
And lastly, I just need to check your address.
Oh, actually, I moved house last month, so the street name's different. It's 60 Forest Road. I think you've got 22 Ash Avenue on your records.
I have, so I'll just make a note of that. That's fine. And is that in the same town still, Callington?
That's right.
Right. Now, do you have your insurance policy in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Can you give me the policy number, please? It's at the top.
Oh, yes. 50924?
It's in a box. It should start with letters.
Oh, CZ8809?
That's the one. And now I want to ask you about the accident itself. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
First of all, did it happen today?
No, it happened yesterday evening, but by the time I got home it was late, so I didn't call.
That's not a problem. So, let's see. Today's the 13th of September, so it happened on the 12th. Is that right?
It is.
Do you know approximately what time the accident occurred?
Oh dear, I wasn't wearing a watch and I was a bit shocked, but I'd say it was between 8:15 and 8:45.
That's okay. I'll just record that it happened at about 8:30. It doesn't matter exactly. And I don't suppose you've got any supporting evidence, have you? I mean witness statements, that kind of thing.
I don't have witness statements, I'm afraid, but I've got a police report. They came and measured up and checked the marks on the road, but unfortunately nobody else was around at the time of the accident.
Any hospital report?
No.
So I take it you don't have any medical problems then? Any injuries?
Only minor ones. It was mainly the car that got damaged, luckily.
Absolutely. But we do recommend that you have a checkup anyway, within 24 hours if possible.
Yes, okay, I'll make an appointment today.
Fine.
Okay, so with that 7 numbers that you've got in front of you, how many numbers were you able to get?
6.
Okay, so let's try to go ahead and review on that. Let's start with number 1. What is your answer for number 1?
RICARD.
R?
ICARD.
You sure?
Yeah, I heard record.
Okay,
Card.
let's try to have
Can I
that.
help you?
Oh, hello. I'm ringing damaged. Someone came out in front of me.
Could I just check a few personal details before we go any further?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Your name, first of all.
It's Elizabeth Rickard.
Is that Rikard?
It's spelt with a C, not...
Okay, so that is actually correct. So when most of the time when it comes actually to listening, they will really give you first wrong spellings and they will try to check that afterwards. Okay, so do not just immediately write when it comes to addresses, because in any ways they will be checking it, they will confirm it whether it's correct or wrong. Right in that. Number 2, what's your answer on that?
I didn't quite catch this one.
Okay, I'll try to play it. One more.
okay.
Oh, okay. And your date of birth, please.
It's the 8th of October, 1975.
And lastly, I just need to check your address.
Oh, actually, I moved house last month, so the street name's different. It's 60 Forest Road. I think you've got 22 Ash Avenue on your records.
I have, so I'll just make a note of that.
Oh, wait.
Okay, so
so
which
I got
one?
it correct. 2016, 60? Is it 60 or 616?
It's 60.
Oh, so 60. 60
Yes, it's
Forest Road.
exactly. Okay, right. He actually meant, or she actually mentioned that the one, or there was a change, right? So currently and previously. So you'd better use one. Which one is current? Policy number. What's that?
CZ8809.
Okay. Can you type that on the chat box? I want to
Sure.
see how you will write it. Okay, thank you so much. It mentions actually 88 and 09. And what is the date?
12th of December.
One more.
12th of December.
December.
12th.
Okay, I'll try to check that one. Are you sure with yours, December?
Yes.
One moment.
I mean witness statements, that kind of thing. So it happened on the 12th, is that right?
It is.
Do you know approximately what time the accident occurred?
Sorry.
CZ8809?
That's the one. And now I want to ask you about the accident itself. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
First of all, did it happen today?
No, it happened yesterday evening, but by the time I got home it was late, so I didn't call.
That's not a problem. So, let's see. Today's the 13th of September, so it happened on the 12th.
Oh,
Is it December?
Oh God, it's September.
Okay, so it is the 12th. The date is correct, but the month is not. So be very careful with that. And what time, what This is the time that was actually mentioned that will be recorded.
Approximately 8:30.
Right? How about the supporting evidence?
Police report.
Okay. And what were actually the medical problems?
Minor injuries.
Exactly. So not so really that dangerous. So that is actually the example of part one. Usually it's divided into four parts. Part one, two, three, four. They have 10 items each part. And as you go along the parts, it will become more difficult. When you will be studying listening, they will be teaching you on the strategies on how you could be able to guess or think ahead of time before you can actually catch the answers or before it even says the answers. Okay, so that is for listening. uh, an example of reading. I know I'm eating much of your time, but I would like to show you this sample reading. True, false, not given question. The question is, when glasses were invented, this is just an example of reading, okay? When glasses were invented, most people could read. This is the paragraph where you will be able to get the answer. If you're going to answer this, what is your answer? True, false, not given.
Hmm. I haven't finished reading yet.
Okay, it's okay. Take your time.
True.
Are you sure?
Hmm. It's not given, to be honest. It's not given.
Not given. Go to the second sentence, third line.
Second sentence, third line. In contrast to general undereducation and illiteracy of the times, these monks were versed in many languages and worked for
Okay,
years
so
in badly
you can
illuminated
actually have
rooms.
in that. What do you get from that? In contrast to the general, it means that, more people or more than 50% of people, they are considered undereducated and illiterate, which means
Hmm.
that,
They cannot read.
right, they cannot read and they cannot write. Therefore, the answer is
False.
exactly. So that is actually an example of reading when it comes to IELTS. Okay.
Okay.
So those are the things that, how do we call this? We usually teach. Of course, in your writing, how good are you in writing essays?
Bad.
Define to me what is bad.
It's either I have nothing to say or the paragraph itself is quite, I mean, I wouldn't say it's short. I mean, it's usually too long for the amount of word count, and it's just a lot of unparaphrased word. It's just a bunch of them jumbled up together.
Okay, okay. Because the way usually, the way Malaysian speaks is the way they write. You're good in speaking, so there is a big possibility that you're also good in writing. Though that is my general assumption. I haven't seen one yet from you, so I cannot really
Mm.
make comments. In any ways, writing for IELTS has two parts. You have your writing task one and writing task two. In writing task one, you are obliged to interpret a data, or let's say a data coming from, let's say, a line graph, pie chart, those ones map like that. But in part two, you are required to do an essay, uh, maximum of 1 hour. First task one is requiring you to do 150 words. Second task, which is essay writing, is requiring you to do 250 words. So that's at least 350 words within at least an hour. that is for your writing task. So those are the examples that I can provide you as of the moment with the limited time that was actually given to me. Before I end this, do you have any question?
Mm, writing, reading, and listening,
Mm-hmm.
and then speaking.
Right, right.
Okay. I think I got most of the part. I think.
Y- yes, yes. I think I was able to give you at least a how do we call this? A how do we call this? A glimpse of what is being taught, but definitely it will look like that. Okay.
Yep. Then yeah, I'm I know. I think I know everything already.
Okay. If
There's
in
any.
any case, I really hope to see you in one of the classes that we have here in school. Thank you so much for your time and
Hmm.
hope to see you again in the future. Bye for now.
Sure. Thank you. Bye bye.
You too.